700.
Okay.
Talking about
Uh-huh.
sex.
Ooh.
What's healthy? What's not? Yeah.
Ooh. Bend it over.
700. Bend it over.
Bust it open.
Bust it open.
Ooh.
Tee it up.
Okay.
No clothes. With clothes.
You're childish.
Welcome to the Tee Up Podcast. I am your boy, Sean 700. I'm a queen host.
Khaleesi Kendra.
So tonight, because of popular demand, we will discuss healthy ways to have a sexual conversation.
Yes.
Okay. So, since Kendra hit me with this unorthodox icebreaker question
Last week?
I got something for her. So, your icebreaker question is, what is your sexual limitations?
Where did I draw the line sexually?
Yeah. What do you draw the line sexually?
I consider myself trisexual, so I'll try things, air quotes, as long as it's like nothing anal, no urine, no pain. Like it's too far. That's where I draw the line. Like
Right.
It don't seem right, it don't feel right, it's not right. So I ain't gonna be able to do it. I just can't do it. What about you?
My limitations.
Mm-hmm.
Depends on how I'm feeling at night. Depends on how I'm feeling at night. I'll say my major limitations are no penetration of any sort for me. Let me just cancel that. Let me just go straight to the point. No penetration for me.
Yeah, it's not a good look.
Other than that, it would just have to be scenario specific stuff that I say, I'm not gonna do that. Sometimes when you can experience stuff sexually, you can't unexperience it.
Yeah.
So some stuff that I hear people talk about,
Uh-huh.
some stuff I hear people say they try, I like to hear their perspective. I don't need my own perspective. I believe them. Some stuff I don't want to know if I like it or not. Because once you commit to this experience, you can't unexperience this.
Right.
So, yeah.
You ever try like S&M?
S&M? Yeah. I've got with the I've got rough before. I've put the leather on and all that. I like the toys anyway.
Oh.
They call me Toys R Us.
Let me just tell y'all something. Baby, one time Sean whipped out these nipple clamps. I was like, who you about to put that on? Because it's not about to be. And no. Because my thing is, you're not going to let me put them nipple clamps on you.
No, they look like jumper cable clamps, so they definitely not good. My nipples are not big enough for that anyway.
Why are you trying to put them
My
shits
nipples
on?
are not big enough for that anyway.
No, I
Yeah.
don't know why you're trying to put them on me.
Yeah.
So, like, how far are you willing to let your partner go, though?
My partner can go as far as she would like.
But you just said she can't penetrate you.
Well, when you say how far she gonna go, I'm assisting her with her journey. This
Oh,
is
no,
not
I'm talking about, like, no, how far are you willing to let her go with you?
All depends. When I'm drinking at night.
What?
All depends. Like I said, definitely no penetration. I'm not getting tied up. I don't trust
I was
people.
about to ask you, can I tie you up?
No,
Like-
no. Only thing you could tie up is my shoes.
No,
I'm
you're
I'm never getting tied up. No tying up.
You know what?
Never. I pass.
So, okay, what do you think about, like, women that are into certain things that get stereotyped or labeled because they're into, like, they may be into anal sex, like they may be into threesomes.
Literally, into it.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Pun intended. They're into
Like,
it.
what do you think about that?
I think most of the time when you hear people that experience certain things or they practice certain sexual acts, most of the time it's the people who don't have the, I'm not gonna say they don't have the mind to be open to it, but they're not open to the act anyway.
Right.
So when you start talking about sex, and sex is such a taboo thing, I don't know why, but when you start talking about sex, people get they get scared, they get queasy, hands start sweating, they start doing all types of
they
start laughing.
We so childish about sex.
Yeah, but sex is a real thing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like when you're talking about sex, when you have the person be like, I would never do that, I would never do this, they probably don't have good sex anyway.
Ooh.
They probably have a average or below average sex life. Personally speaking. And it's not saying that they're not experiencing good sex, but they're limiting themselves to being ostracized by other people who don't even enjoy sex like them.
Right.
Because everybody don't enjoy sex. Some people have sex just to put a check in the box.
No. Oh, that's interesting. So, like, I don't like labels either. So it's strange to me. So when does like it become weird? Like, when do you think it's? I have a interesting like thing that I saw on Instagram that is like. I don't even know if I would even consider it weird. It's kind of like sick. So they asked this lady, what's the kinkiest thing you did? And she was like, I had a threesome with this guy and his mom. And I'm like,
that's definitely kinky.
I don't think that's kinky.
Was this the mom or was this biological mom or the step mom?
No, I think it was this person's mom. And she had a threesome with this guy and his mom. And she was like, yeah, it gets worse. Like, the mom starts giving the son head. I'm like, right. That's sick. Like, that's like, to me, that's like beyond kinky. Like, to me, you've entered in the world of being weird when you start having threesomes with your family.
Guy and the mom.
That's weird.
Hey,
like, what do you?
I guess that's what they keep it in the family. I guess keep it in the family. I'm not about it, but I get it.
That's too far for me. That's too far.
Hey, that's what you want to do? Cool. Tell me about your experience.
when does it become weird? Like, when do you think it becomes weird?
So let me ask you this. What is the kinkiest thing you ever done?
Do we have a chip that I could throw on the table? Because
No. We can't take no shots. This is we teeing this up, right?
Listen, I ain't expect to be getting on here telling all these people all
That's
my business. So what's the kinkiest? Ask yourself, what's the kinkiest thing you've ever done, buddy?
How long you got?
You know what? Give me 30 good seconds.
How long you got?
Give me 30 good seconds of your kinkiest thing.
Listen. I have, as a single man, I've experienced some very interesting moments sexually that was very cool. Very cool. And my appetite was fulfilled. So at this moment, now I'm in a relationship, moving to marriage and family. I took my single years and I explored. So now it's time to explore with you. So I don't have that urge to do certain things. So it's kind of, you kind of need those years to get out a lot of those urges you have, because you might get into a situation with your partner and they just might not be open to stuff like that.
Oh, that's interesting. So how do you break, like, if you're into certain things before your partner, like, how do you break certain habits? Because it's a thing for you, right? So, like, how do you break certain habits that you've created before you've gotten into this partnership, if you like certain things?
Right. Well, you have to look at it like this. If I'm single, I'm living a single life. But once you get into a relationship with somebody, you can't necessarily just bring what you like. You have to almost elevate to what you guys like. So that's why we're having the conversation tonight. So now we have to have a healthy sex conversation to say, well, this is what I'm used to. So you may say, well, Sean, I'm not doing that. Well, okay, so what will our sexual relationship consist of? Because if this is what I'm used to, that doesn't mean that I still want to do it, because maybe I was single, maybe I elevated, maybe intimacy came into play, and it's not just about the experience or the fantasy. So it kind of it depends on where you at in life. It depends on where you at in life.
So what's a healthy way, like, what do you think a healthy way of exploring your sexual limitations are?
I think a healthy way of exploring your sexual limitations, I would definitely get somebody
who's interested in understanding, like,
yeah, but
where
you have to get a partner that understands they're on the same path. They're trying to find out their sexual limitations also, because that can be very weird. It can get very weird, or it can get very dangerous. It depends on what you guys, the sex act that you guys actually do.
Yeah, I agree. So you definitely need to explore with someone who's definitely willing to go on a specific type of journey with you.
Definitely. So,
Yeah.
so in a relationship, for me, I would feel that regardless of what age you guys are, if you commit to each other, you have all these years to explore all this sexual activity. But let me ask you something. How many couples do you think that actually are married, living together, living apart, that actually don't like having sex with each other? They actually hate the sex. Not hate, but it's actually gotten boring.
Boring, or it's just something they do to check off the box to say we've had sex today.
Or I'm a have sexual intercourse with my significant other, so they don't go have sex with anybody else. How many couples you think wake up every single day with that mindset?
It could be a great deal. I'm not really sure because I'm not really in these people's households. But yeah, it could be a great deal. But that's a good segue to talk about today's topic. So let's tee up the conversation about sex and how to have healthy conversations about sex. So, like, in your opinion, like, how important is sex in a relationship? Let's just kick it off there. Like, how important? And because I think it varies from person to person. But like, what do you think?
For myself, I'll use it based on what I do every day. So by me being an artist, an abstract artist, I look at sex like a blank canvas.
Yeah.
So when I get this blank canvas, I get to express all of my emotions. I get to express all of my feelings onto the canvas. But once this canvas is finished, I've given to the canvas.
Yeah.
So for me, sex is about giving. What are you bringing to the bedroom?
Right.
Or wherever you decide to have sex.
Right.
But sex, I hear people talk about sex and they say, well, it's you have to reciprocate your partner in sex. To me, not necessarily. Sex is reciprocity. The difference in reciprocity deals with what do you bring to the bedroom based on what you're getting. So if your partner is, let's say, I don't want to call any porn stars out, but if your partner is experienced in the bedroom, okay, what are you doing on your personal time or with your partner to get you more experience so you can say, you know what, man, I like how experienced you are. I want to get not even experience, more comfortable, because that's what sex is about. It's not about the experience. It's about being comfortable, because sex is about vulnerability. You're being vulnerable. You're not just giving your body to this person. You're actually, in a spiritual side, the souls are connecting.
Right.
That's why when you talk about sex as a young person, you talk about how it feels to you. You talk about what the person did and how good it was. But as you get older and you get more seasoned and more mature and you go to that next level, your ideal is, what do I bring to the bedroom? It's not always what am I getting? What am I bringing to the bedroom?
I think most people, I would think that most people are thinking, what are they getting? But to your point, like,
and that's why so many people have like average sex.
Yeah,
you could tell.
Yeah.
Most people that have average sex, they're always angry.
Yeah,
they're always angry, always pissed about something. They're always angry. People that have good sex be like, it's raining, I don't even need an umbrella. I don't care. I don't even care.
Yeah. I think, like, definitely understanding your partner's sexual appetite so that you can understand, like, how do you all come to, like, a healthy agreement on what sort of exchange intimately that you need to have to make sure that both of you are happy is super duper important. I know, like, during the last show, we talked about having healthy conversations, and we talked about, like, three of the most important things: being honest, being transparent, and also having fun conversations. Like,
correct.
How do you think people can start to have, like, these sexual conversations to say, okay, hey, I'm into this specific thing? Like, and when does that need to happen? Because to me, I feel like it needs to happen, like, really early on.
I think when you meet a person, day one, this is the question.
Wait, not day one.
Day one.
Wait a
minute. When I meet you.
I don't want to talk about sex with you on day one.
Well, we're not,
because I don't even know if I'm gonna have sex with you just yet. Now, wait.
Well, this is
pretty early though.
This is the conversation. Hi, my name's Sean. What's your name? Okay, that's your name. What meds are you on? You're on those meds. So
What?
you have to know this. You have to know this. That's like a viable question.
Okay.
And you got to realize we're not having this conversation in front of people.
Right.
We're having this conversation because we are adults and we're interested in each other.
Yeah.
So if we're interested in each other, we have to show interest, real early.
Yeah.
So what meds are you taking? What meds are you on? And what is your sexual appetite?
Yeah.
Do you like children?
Wait
Some adults are attracted to children.
Yeah, because we got.
Do you like same sex? Like you have to understand people's sexual appetite. It's like going to Golden Corral.
Yeah.
It's a buffet.
So, like, are people going to be honest, though? Because the first thing, like, if you tell me some stuff like you like some damn children, I'm calling the fucking police on you. I'm sending the feds for you because you need to be in jail.
Well,
you need to be arrested today.
And so let's.
So are people actually going to be honest about that kind of stuff?
So let's look at that conversation. You would be surprised the people that would give you a correct, honest answer if you only asked.
Right.
The reason we are not used to hearing those answers because we never asked.
Right.
Because I think we play it safe and we just hope the person is normal sexually.
Right. Yeah.
So what we do is we play it safe.
Because obviously if he likes that, he can't be here with me.
Correct.
Well,
so now if you understand this person they're attracted to whatever, now you have to say, well, let me exit this situation.
Yeah.
But if you're 2 years in, you can't exit as fast now because y'all might have kids, you might have a financial obligation,
right,
or you might have an emotional obligation, or
right,
you might be emotionally attached. So these questions, even though they're hard, but in this, no pun intended, but in this climate,
childish.
But in this climate, with everybody being so honest and real, you have to ask. Why wouldn't you ask these questions?
Right.
Like think about it. Why wouldn't you ask a person these questions?
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people do ask questions. I can say I think our relationship has been the first relationship and I'm a 40-year-old woman, actually
42.
I'm 41.
She's tipsy already.
I'm actually not tipsy.
I'm going to get
I
pregnant
think
again
I'm 41
tonight.
now. So
She's getting pregnant again tonight.
No, the fuck I'm not. The devil is a lie, okay? So, listen, at 40 years old, just having these conversations about sex, because you assume that you understand what a person likes based on, what you all do. But if you haven't really talked about it, you really don't know.
Right.
And so, what are some of the consequences of not getting on the same page with your partner?
Y'all having very below average sex.
Below average.
Not being attracted.
Cheating.
Creating
habits.
Faking orgasms, coughing, sneezing during sex.
Yeah.
You have all of these things that people bring up during sex just not to have it instead of just having a conversation early. People need to be more, and I'll say this. We live in a country where sex is a very taboo act. And it's a very weird and unfortunate perspective because we can watch a movie and when the sex scene come on, if there's kids in the room,
we're going to cover their eyes.
We're going to cover their eyes.
Right.
But in the next scene, that same person that was having sex, they can kill 60 people, blow up 4 buildings, and do all of this stuff, and the parents let them watch it.
Right.
So what's more detrimental to this kid actually repeating or saying, I want to do that, and actually causing great harm to their self or to the world?
Right.
It's the murder. It's the shooting.
Right.
It's I'm killing everybody in this scene. But when we're watching a movie and a sex scene come up, and understand how sacred sex is. I love sex. That's how I got here. That's how my kids got here.
Right.
So I like sex.
He put 2 in me, y'all. He put 2 babies.
Yeah.
In.
So so to me, sex is a viable part of life. Sex is like breathing.
2 babies at the same damn time.
Hey. Okay. Sex is like a viable part of life, but you have people And it's no knock on it. But when I hear people say, "Oh, I don't want to have sex. I'm sustaining from sex because of this reason."
Ooh.
Now, if it's a spiritual reason or if it's a self reason, yes. But if you've been hurt and you've been this, I don't think you need to sustain from sex. I think you need to sustain from dealing with a certain type of person.
So okay, have you ever dated a girl that, or not a girl, but a woman who has, like told you, "Hey, I'm waiting to marriage. I'm not having sex." And
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
That
And
don't
like
last.
as an adult.
Yes, that don't last. That
Okay.
doesn't last. I've met a few
Interesting.
women that have said I'm waiting to marriage, and I ask them, "Are you a
Why?
virgin?" Or, like why?
Yeah.
Well, I think I just don't want to be having sex. I want to wait till I get married. So okay, cool. So I'm like, well,
Were they virgins though?
no.
Okay. What was the reason?
They said that they were waiting until they get married because they felt like they didn't want to just be giving themselves to anybody anymore until they get married. I'm looking at them like, how many people have you given yourself to?
Right.
Because if you giving yourself to more people than on more fingers on one hand, I don't think you should be sustaining. I think you should just keep going.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, you've already dove in the river.
First of all, that's not your decision.
That's
But
true.
you're not saying that it's wrong. You're
Nah,
just
I'm not
saying that it's
no,
not
no,
for
no.
you.
Yeah, it's not for me because you have to realize if we are not on the same page, if you're practicing abstinence and I'm not, we're gonna have an issue.
Oh, absolutely.
We're gonna have an issue.
Yeah.
We're gonna have an issue because
Yeah, I agree.
yeah, I may don't feel the same.
Well, clearly.
Yeah, I don't feel the same. But I respect that anybody who wants to wait, that's fine.
Yeah.
But the awesome thing I can say these two women did, day one, this is what they disclosed.
They were honest.
Day one, I'm
Yeah.
not having sex, no matter what you do. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Let me call you back. Let me call you right back. I'm going to take a shower.
Now I know a couple that did this, and we were late 20s, and the young lady, she wasn't a virgin, but for whatever reason she decided to abstain from sex, and until her and the guy got married, and they ended up getting married in
Bless her heart.
yeah, I mean they were together for a couple years, and they ended up getting married and having like 3-4 children, and so
I bet they did.
yeah, they're still together, but I think she kind of gave him a pass to like have sexual
My
like
type of
experiences
woman.
with other people.
Really?
Boy, shut your face.
So what came? So now the past comes back. The past come back full circle.
The cheating pass.
See, well, let's look at it. So let's look at this now. In that case, he's not cheating.
No, because they've agreed to that. Like she was okay with it, so he's not cheating.
So ladies, this is an excellent point. So ladies, let's say, or fellas, whatever person in a relationship is sustaining from sex, do you give the other person at the time a chance to go out and fulfill their sexual desires?
I think like it depends on what your agreement is.
What do you do?
What
would you do?
I wouldn't be in a situation where I'm sustaining, so like I can't answer that. Like I'm
My girl.
definitely fucking.
God dog it.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Like I've never been in a situation where I wanted to do that.
Right.
So, but I can understand like how somebody could be in a, want to be with a person and make them, allow them to be, themselves.
Right.
And they want to be with this person, but, definitely not my thing. So what advice would you give somebody who is having like a challenge with having like a sexual conversation with their partner because they feel like they're not on the same page and they don't know how to have the conversation? Because I do think it is a taboo thing. Like I said, at 40 years old, you were the first man that I've actually sat down and you were like, we really don't talk about sex. I'm like, we don't. But I just assumed that we knew what each other needed.
Right. It's a little bit. Once you elevate to a side of when it's not just sex, it's actually intimacy. It's different.
Yeah, because you do.
You have to realize, and we joke about sex and we have fun, but sex is a very, very vulnerable act.
Yeah,
it's very vulnerable and it's a very serious act. Mm-hmm. So when you engage in a sexual act, it's always beneficial to have conversations about sex, even if you're not talking about the specifics, but understand you and your partner need to have conversations about sex, because the one thing about sex is, and unfortunately, as me being a young man, I'm 42, I will say 95% of the women that I have met have all dealt with sexual battery as a child. So a lot of people have been molested. So that's the biggest reason you have the conversation, because you want to make sure that the person, you're not triggering the person.
Right.
Because sexual battery is a very prevalent in our community, but it's not really talked about.
Right, for whatever reason.
And I feel like me talking to these women, and it's like, I ask them, like, how do you process this? How do you process this battery, this sexual battery, going forward in life?
Right.
And a lot of times, nobody talks to them about this.
Right.
Nobody gives these people, and guys go through it too.
Right.
Nobody give people who've been molested a chance to say, wait a minute, sex is different for me because I was violated sexually.
Right.
So my first experience, it wasn't
intimate.
It wasn't intimate. It wasn't beautiful.
It was
something that was taken from me.
Right.
And me being a man, I have to. You really, really, really have to understand what goes on in the mind of a person that has been molested and is dealing with that, because that never goes away.
It doesn't go away. And I also, I think a lot of times, like, you kind of disconnect from sex. You know what I mean? So, and you don't even realize you've disconnected from it when you've been violated as a child, because you've disconnected for so long. You don't even know sometimes that you're not connected to a person that wants to be intimate with you.
And I'll say this, the disconnect might not be from sex itself. It may be because you were being violated so much. That's how you dealt with it.
Yeah,
you just disconnected yourself when you were being violated.
Yeah, let me tune out of this.
Yeah, let me get out of this, because I don't have any control of this.
Yeah.
So now when you become an adult and you can express yourself, and now you're in a safe space, because a lot of these kids, whether it's male or female, sometimes they don't say anything.
Right.
Or they tell an adult, and it's like, we don't believe you.
Yeah.
So now this
or they believe you and they don't do anything about it.
So now
that's strange.
And so now this child is isolated with these broken emotions of sex.
Yeah.
Nobody comes back and tell them, well, wait a minute, okay? We have to go to therapy. We have to heal, because now we have to get you on a track of having a healthy sexual relationship. But how many parents have sexual conversations with us? Like healthy, like telling us, not telling us if you have sex, you're going to get a girl pregnant or you can get an STD, but telling us, hey, it actually feels good.
Right.
You're actually going to like it. And what can happen is you can get so addicted to it early till you can get somebody pregnant, because right now you don't understand what comes with having sex. It's a lot.
Responsibility.
It's a responsibility of having sex. And a lot of parents, I know I wasn't. I'm still waiting on that conversation.
Yeah. Nah, you're right. I mean, and it's interesting because, like, I have a 21-year-old, and we actually did have a sex conversation when she was around 14 or 15, and I was just like, listen, I understand, like, you're going through a specific sort of change in life, and we need to talk about sex. And so we sat down and talked about sex, and I said, listen, if this is something you're interested in doing, or when you're interested in doing it, please let me know.
Yeah.
So we can make sure that we're being responsible sexually. We can be responsible so that you don't get pregnant, and we can be responsible in understanding, like, how, that is how a person is supposed to treat you during that experience.
Right.
So I actually did have those conversations, but you're right, like, from our era, and she, when she was ready, she did come and talk to me.
Right.
And she's 21 and she still don't have any children.
Right.
So it's like, you got to have these conversations. But in our era, we didn't have those sort of conversations with our parents, at all. So
it's like I said, sex is a very, very, unfortunately, it's a very taboo subject. But if you don't spend any time talking about sex, researching sex, understanding what your sexual appetites are, not because you saw it on porn or you saw it on a movie or your favorite celebrity is doing this. What do you really like though?
Right.
What do you really like? And not just to have somebody in your life, you trying stuff. What really brings your soul to a true place of climax, happiness, in a feel-good situation?
Yeah. So, like, let's talk about porn then, because I think with porn, like, do you think it like sets unrealistic like expectations about sexual experiences?
I find that kind of. I find that statement. I hear that a lot. I find it unrealistic because the people are actually real people having sex.
Right.
So, okay, it's just like the documentary we watched the other night.
Bill Cosby. Yeah.
To me, I think they were upset at Bill Cosby because he was so great at being
Cliff Huxtable.
Yeah. He couldn't have a life outside of being Cliff Huxtable.
Right.
Now, his life outside of being Cliff Huxtable was a doozy.
Yeah.
It was a doozy.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect it.
You wouldn't expect it. But the only reason you wouldn't expect it, because the character that he played
so well.
The character he played at work.
Yeah.
Understand. He's at work. Mm-hmm. This not his personal life.
Yeah.
The character he played at work was so wholesome and so peaceful that nobody wanted to accept him for being a person that did drugs with women, some women, or he drugged women and had sex with them.
Yeah, like, sir.
Yeah, that's
a bit far.
That's a total different contrast.
Yeah,
but
because it's one thing if you're like, you're both agreeing to this person doing drugs. A lot of times, based on this documentary that we watched, he was giving these women drugs and they didn't even know it.
Right.
Wait a minute.
But when you circle back, let's circle back to some other professions.
Yeah.
When you circle back to a lot of entertainers, they talk about giving girls drugs and we're going to do this to her and do that to her. Nobody says anything about the rappers who say this.
Well, first of all,
I think
we're all thinking that this is consensual. Who the fuck goes around drugging somebody to have sex with?
Well, Bill Cosby, actually.
Apparently.
A lot of people.
Like, I mean, like, if we're listening to certain music, like, who's thinking in their right frame of mind, like, oh, this person is talking about giving somebody drugs unbeknownst to them.
So now what we have to do is be more conscious about the media that we consume.
Agree.
Because now what we're doing is subconsciously being taught what to do.
Yeah.
And now we're thinking this is entertainment.
Yeah.
But we don't realize
we feeding our mind, body, and soul.
We are feeding our mind, body, and soul this thing. Mm-hmm. So now when you say, yeah, I want to take a Molly too, and toot it up and bend it over, it's like, what?
Yeah, hey.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's you have to realize if you're gonna look at Bill Cosby for what he did, and I had to watch a documentary because it was
because we was like, that man ain't do that.
Yeah,
Bill did it. Ooh,
look, did that shit. Bill did that shit. Look.
Oh, that's not funny.
Look,
like,
yeah, it's not
it's
not funny. Because a lot of people, there's a lot of people that got hurt.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of people dealing with a lot of stuff. And it's sexual battery.
Yeah,
and that's
you can tell based on the way these women respond to some of the questions, like how much it affected them. And then you have people like Beverly Johnson that gets on there and she's like, I instantly knew he had put something in my cappuccino based on how I was feeling. And I'm like, that's sick. That is insane.
So what's the difference from me putting something in your cappuccino or buying you shots all night? What's the difference?
Well, I know you're buying me shots. I know you're giving me alcohol.
So the shots are consent.
They are.
What?
Wait a minute.
What?
They're consent to drink, not to have sex. Now, wait. Let me be
All
clear. To give somebody shots is a consent to drink, have a substance, but it does not give you consent to have sex with me.
All right.
Like, let's be clear about that.
So okay. So let's look at this. When you think, if you're out, and let's say we're not talking about now, we're talking about when in our younger years, when we're out and a person is buying you drinks. How did this person know you're thirsty?
Well, I don't. So for me personally, like I was taught early on to not accept drinks from random.
Who taught you that?
my mom. Like, you don't take drinks from random men at bars, and it's something that I've actually taught my daughter. Even random women, because women be in on the schemes and scams now too. Now, I don't think it's anything wrong with like a guy like that you may find attractive. Like if he wants to
so
buy,
it's the guy you like buying you a drink. Oh,
you didn't let me finish.
Okay.
Like buying you a drink to like start up a conversation or whatever. You're at the bar with him when he's buying the drink, so you really he's.
What if the bartender's in on it?
No, wait a minute. That's
See,
too far.
yeah, but wait. now think about
what
this.
What are we doing?
You say
I'm sure it happens.
Now think about this. You say it's too far, but those women in that dock say they thought they was auditioning.
Yeah.
When they was going to meet with this guy.
No.
So when you say it's too far, just because it may be mentally far-fetched for the victim.
Right.
You cannot put it past the
I've
planning
seen a movie.
stage of the people.
I saw a movie where the bartender was actually in.
Yes.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Like, how often does that happen? I'm sure it does though. But yeah, you're right. So back to our like sex topic. So because we didn't went down a whole rabbit hole, because I mean like this can go all kinds of ways. But like, what happens when the guy is like no longer attracted to the woman? So say she has a baby and he's not physically attracted to her, or he may not be physically attracted to her for other reasons. Her attitude stinks, or whatever. Like why first of all, let's ask this. Why do guys become unattracted to their partners? And then what happens after the fact, like once they are unattracted?
I mean, now we have to look at why we're attracted first.
Yeah.
If we're attracted because of your physique, as far as your curves, as far as how you dress, now that attraction won't be there forever.
Right.
Because as we progress in life, as we grow, the way you dress will change.
The way you dress, or you become so used to something somebody does, like it's the norm for you.
Correct.
Yeah.
But as we grow in life, some of the things that we're attracted to when we're younger, we don't have that appetite anymore.
Right, it changes.
So a lot of times, I know I've had conversations with guys, and they say, after their girl, whether it's a wife or a girl that they was dealing with, have kids, they're no longer attractive.
That's interesting.
And a lot of them say, well, their body is different, they're doing this different. So I always ask the guy, okay, her body is different. What are you doing to help her to get her body back?
Right.
Because you are the manager. You're the person with the issue with the performance of this person.
Right.
So what is your position to say, if I'm not attracted to my girl, what am I doing to help her be attractive? Or let's say it could be a combination of both. Let's say the woman doesn't feel attractive, and the reason the man isn't attractive because he feels the energy. As the man, depends on where you at as your partner. It's my job to build you up. It's my job to make sure I call you sexy, still tell you you're beautiful.
But do you believe that, or are you just saying it?
Well, you have to realize if you brought a child into the world, you're already beautiful.
Right.
See, and that's why I say with these type of conversations, you have to get mature people. You have to get people that are selfless. Because if you think a woman will have a child and be the same, some are blessed with genetics that's possible. But if you thinking your woman is not going to change mentally, physically, spiritually, her priorities, based on this new responsibility we have, you gotta be out of your mind.
Yeah.
You have to be a person that you're not even like living in a reality state of life, because when you see a woman have a baby, everything changes. She changes.
Right. Mental, like I don't think the brain chemistry is even the same after. I think there are studies done on this. Like your brain chemistry is even different. Like after you have a kid, like your mindset is just different. So the way you think is even different. So there's a lot of you. Not only do you go through a physical change, you actually go through a mental change as well.
Now I'll say this: most guys that I've talked to, after their girl have a baby, even if they might put a little weight on, they still say that's just my girl.
Yeah.
You have to realize, I want to illustrate something. There's a lot more good guys in this world than we speak of. There's a lot more guys that's rational. There's a lot more guys that's understanding. There's a lot more guys than mainstream media and what social media entertains us with. So understand, if you're being entertained by the narrative of guys are always immature, they always want sex, it's cool, but that might be tainting you understanding what a man or what your man really desires from you, or really how he looks at you.
Right.
I will say, after you had those kids, sex was on the table, but based on what I became as far as a parent, now what I have to do is I have to help you heal because you're healing.
Yeah.
So as a man, my sexual appetite doesn't go away, but as a man,
the priority just shifts.
the priority shifts. And it's not I gotta suppress it. I'm gonna go watch porn. I'm going to beat off in the shower every night. No, you have to realize we have to grow up and we have to say, wait a minute. My priorities have to shift.
Yeah.
But when you're dealing with a mature person or people, those conversations and those transitions are fairly easy.
Yeah.
Now, when you're dealing with somebody who they need sex, because I'll say this, ladies, understand this, fellas, don't lie. A lot of men really don't start having a lot of consistent sex until, one, they got a good job or they start making money.
Ooh.
I'm going to just be honest.
Ooh.
They don't have consistent
Shots
sex.
fired.
I'm just being honest. But men will tell you. Honest men will tell you.
Yeah.
They don't have consistent sex. They're not just knocking down a woman every weekend. They're not.
Yeah.
I remember traveling with a slew of my friends, and they would be batting zero the whole weekend. They would be batting zero. But at the same time, as we were younger, we might tease them. Like, you haven't had any
So
woman.
it don't sound like you was in the part of the group that was batting zero.
Look.
I don't even want move on. God damn it. Don't get beat up on this show.
Wait a minute.
Move the fuck on, okay? Move on. Cause
I'm just...
let me tell y'all something about Sean. Sean is something else, baby. He is an asshole, okay? He can be an asshole, okay?
I'm fun. I'm like, okay. People call me
Sean is arrogant.
People call me an a-hole. I'm not arrogant. I know who I know who I am. But I'm gonna tell you, it's two things. The reason why I have the confidence I have about myself and people around me, even people around me, I give you confidence that you sometimes probably like, I ain't doing that. I'm like, yes, you can.
Yeah.
The reason why I have this because I don't step outside of what I can do.
Right.
The one thing I understand about myself, I know my expectations of myself, but I also know my limitations.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stay within my realm. So when I stay within my realm, I'm going to talk that talk in my realm.
Yeah.
Now, once I get outside my realm, I'll be more, conservative, and I'll be more of a student or a listener.
Yeah.
But I'll say a lot of guys they're not having as much sex as they claim to have.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you can see it because a lot of girls, a lot of men be girl crazy.
Yeah.
It's like every girl they see, they have to try to get her number. Oh man, look at her. It's like, dude.
Yeah, I've always wondered, like, especially at our age, like, what is that about? It's an interesting dynamic to watch, like, at our age.
Well, because you have a lot of men who are not used to being around beautiful women on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
You have men that they only look at women for one or two things.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. So, and that's a true statement. So I wanted to ask you, like, because you had touched on something earlier about intimacy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in your opinion, like, what is intimacy, and like, how do you connect intimately, like, with your partner?
I think intimacy is something, first off, that starts with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing about intimacy, it starts with you. Once you put what people want you to be, what they desire you to be, what they would like for you to be aside, and you get into a very monogamous relationship with yourself, your own intimacy is going to come.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to build your intimacy.
Mm-hmm.
And what's going to happen is you're going to be attracted to other people's intimacy.
Yeah.
And intimacy is not the act that actually act of sex.
Mm-hmm.
It's a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
You can hear intimacy in a person's conversation.
To me, it's an energy. Like,
yes,
it's a
you
certain
can,
type of energy.
Yes, you can hear an intimate person based on the conversations you guys have. Now, intimacy can also go deeper when y'all start having conversations about your soul.
Childhood trauma. Yeah.
Most people don't like to talk about
Yeah.
stuff like that, but that's where the soul is connected.
Yeah.
The soul is connected in the pain and the experiences.
Mm-hmm.
It's like right now in the world, everybody wants equality for everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that we're not equal on is perspective,
Mm-hmm.
experiences. I watch a lot of people fuss, debate about personal experiences, and I'm like, wow. That's weird because this is something you should be learning right now.
Right, because your perspective of something is definitely through your lens, and it doesn't make it
100%.
wrong. It doesn't make it that. So I get exactly what you mean, because like we want to go back and forth about specific things, and it's like that person isn't wrong because that's their perspective based on the life experience that they've had. So it is very interesting to watch a person go back and forth with somebody or try to like put their perspective on them, and that's just not the lens that they've had to live life through.
So it's just like when we talked earlier about the young lady who was sustaining from sex when I met her. Now, jokingly, I'll say I'm not doing that, but for me, being a respectable man of myself first, I was honest enough to tell her, I'm not the guy for you.
Right.
Not saying that just because you don't want to have sex, but that's not my walk.
Right.
That's not my walk.
That's not my place.
Yeah, that ain't my struggle.
It's none of my business right now.
That's not my struggle. Now the thing about it, the beautiful thing about it is that was because at that part of my life, my maturity level was different.
Yeah.
Now, let's say I might be a little different now because the priorities and how I value sex, how I value intimacy, how I value myself has changed.
Yeah.
The one thing that I've learned in life is I will never value somebody more than they value themselves.
Yeah.
I can't.
Right.
Because once you start doing that, a person is confused because now you're treating them above how they treat themselves. So they're not even going to see that they're being treated better because they're used to a certain type of treatment.
Right.
But when you have those intimate conversations and you talk about that pain, but you talk about overcoming the pain, when we talk about it's okay, it's a safe space talking to me because most people don't talk about their pain in every single relationship. Right. Every single relationship, you're not going to be this total open book to everybody.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you're not going to be an open book.
Yeah.
But when you do find that person, and sometimes it may not be in a relationship.
Yeah.
It may just be in a casual friend. But it may be a safe space to say, you know what? I'm feeling like this. This happened to me, and I'm feeling like this, but it's affecting how I receive people in my life.
Yeah.
You know? So we have to think about that when we having conversations with people. One thing I used to do when I was younger, people would tell me certain stuff. I would laugh.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't my perspective, and I had to stop that because you never know how you make the person feel in that situation.
Yeah. That's something you should not do, be laughing at people.
You laugh when you leave. Not down in front of them. You laugh when you leave.
Y'all see what I'm over here dealing with? This man here. So, you know what? One of the things I learned about us recently, how long ago was this? Like, our idea of foreplay was...
Yeah, it's different. Watch. I can't wait till this conversation kick off. Let's go.
So, like, Sean, I don't even know why we were talking, but we ended up having this conversation with a group of friends on a bike ride one day.
Right.
After Sean and I had the conversation.
Your mom was even present.
Yeah, at home.
Right.
Yeah, because I had to call my mom.
Yeah.
You know my mom like my bestie. I done told y'all that. So I had to call my mom. I'm like, girl, what is foreplay? Because Sean's definition, maybe I'm wrong.
That was not my definition. Go ahead.
Bye. Don't try to backtrack now. So Sean and I were talking about foreplay in some kind of way. I asked him, like, what is your definition of foreplay? And what do you say? What did you say?
I asked you, well, when you said my definition, I asked you, I said, is oral sex foreplay? And you said, no, that's sex. And
it's oral sex.
Right, correct. And I was like, well, okay, I kind of thought that was foreplay. You was like, Sean, I think oral sex is foreplay. That's all to it. And I'm like, I didn't say that. I asked you a question.
That's actually what you said, Sean. But we go.
Look at me. Do I think? I ain't gonna say that. Go ahead.
Well, I'm gonna tell you based on.
Go ahead. Go ahead,
sir.
Go ahead. Say it.
Let me just
say
it. We had very different. Very different definitions of what foreplay was.
Correct.
So it became just interesting, and like this is why it is super and so important to like talk to your partner about sex, because your definition of one thing, of one topic may be something, and your partner's definition could be totally different.
And we were laughing about it because the important thing about having a healthy sexual relationship is don't ridicule your partner for inexperience or overexperience.
Yeah.
Don't make them feel like you're bad because you've had more sex partners than me, or you're not experienced at all.
Yeah, I'm more experienced.
That stuff, like doing that's not cool.
That's not healthy.
Yeah, that's not healthy
That's
at
definitely
all.
not a part
that
of the
healthy
conversation dialogue.
I'll say with my clients that are men, we talk about certain things when I'm training them. And sex with their significant other, not the specifics of it, but how do they keep it spicy? How do you do this with kids?
How do you adjust to having kids? Because let me tell you a funny story.
I'm listening.
So a few weeks ago, Anais, which is our baby girl, she's 1. She's in the closet with Sean. And when I say the closet, we have a walk-in closet. Sean's in there trying to find clothes or get dressed, or find clothes to get dressed so we can go somewhere. And the next thing I know, Sean like screams. I'm like, what's wrong? And Ais whips out.
Cheerleader. She became an instant cheerleader.
And she's like dangling it around.
We got a video of her doing this.
This is a whip, okay? First of all, where in the hell?
I'm sorry.
Wait a minute.
No.
My God.
Where's my leather mask?
Please leave it where it's at. So, and is like dangling this thing around. Give me that.
I feel like Conan when I have that in my hand. I feel like Conan the Barbarian when I have that in my hand.
Guess who I'm dealing with? No. So anyway, getting back to our point, like adjusting to life after kids. Like she's 1 and she found this thing and she's like spinning it around, and we are like going ham.
With her nook.
She got a pacifier in her mouth, and we're like, oh my God, where did you even get that from? But like how do you adjust to life when you like even have older kids? Because like the older they get, the more
they're gonna go through your stuff as
aware. Yeah. They're gonna go through your things. They're gonna walk in your room unannounced. Come in the bathroom unannounced. Like I think that's the part I'm like trying to figure out at this point. And yes, I do have an older child, but I don't like she's so old, much older now. I don't remember none of this. So. Right. I'm like, how do you adjust to that? So like when you're talking to your friends or your clients, like do y'all talk about that, or any ideas?
We kind of keep it surface level. Mm-hmm. And it's like we haven't got with the toys and none of that, but we keep it kind of surface level. But as men, we do have conversations about how do you keep it spicy? Like, what's your times?
Yeah.
Like, how long do y'all have when the kids sleep?
Yeah.
So we're not having conversations. Listen, ladies, we're not having conversations of how many women you slept with, or can I use your car to go cheat?
Yeah.
We're having conversations about how do we stay in the relationship, but we keep it to where it's sustainable.
Yeah.
Where it's consistently sustainable and it's consistently progressing.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have you need a healthy system of people around you to continuously to give you new concepts in life and healthy ways to do stuff.
Yeah.
You can't get your concepts and your suggestions from people who really don't have what you have, when I say have what you have, I don't mean monetary. I mean what you have with your significant other.
Yeah, the type of intimacy, romance,
it takes another person that respect their spouse, male or female, to tell you, hey, don't do that, or do this.
Yeah.
So it's different. The conversations we have as guys is different.
Yeah.
But for me, I would love for us to get some couples and we talk about sex, because a lot of it is we can sit up here and talk about how we deal with sex, but we're just one couple.
Yeah.
It's so many different avenues of how people keep it fresh.
Yeah.
And we just starting. We 2.5 years in.
Yeah, we are. And so the point is, we're trying to figure out, like, how do we stay in this and thrive for 20, 30 years and keep it fresh and keep it fun. Like, how often do you think you need to reassess, like, on these sex conversations?
I think you need to reassess it like a mortgage monthly. I think this is monthly.
We need to talk about this often.
Hey, it's like an oil change. hey, wait a minute. It's like an oil change. You need to. Hey, this week we're gonna rotate these tires. That's what we doing this week. We got PM maintenance.
Yeah.
We gotta. We have to start living in a very productive
and proactive,
in a proactive way,
instead of being reactive.
Instead of waiting till something happens, instead of saying, well, we're gonna wait to talk about sex. Let's get together as couples and talk about sex.
Yeah.
Let's have sure intentions to talk about sex and other things.
Yeah.
But sex is something that is so taboo.
Yeah.
It's so taboo. To a lot of people are suffering in silence because they're too afraid to tell a person either I like this or I really don't like that.
When you do that,
anymore. Anymore.
I know it used to be cool. I liked it then, but now I don't like it no more.
So what you like then? I don't know. What are you saying?
I'm not talking about
okay. I'm just trying to say. What are you saying?
What? You're not about to have me spilling all my tea on this show.
That's what we here for.
We here to talk and tee up conversations, not to be spilling.
That's what we here for.
I spill a little bit of beans, but not too much. Not too much. Yeah. So I don't know what we're talking about next week, but I think the sex talk has been like very healthy, very good for us to talk about. The sex is very it's a very, very important topic,
but it's a very, amongst people that feel like they shouldn't talk about it, or people that's just uncomfortable. They neglect it.
Yeah.
And anything that you want to see progress or you want to be great at, you have to give an effort towards. You can't give a lackluster effort towards sex and think, like, you have people that you got to have sex with me. It got to be this big, this long. Her butt got to be this big. She got to be shaped like this. Is okay. But what are you bringing to the table? Like, what do you bring?
Right.
If you get your picture perfect person, what is that person going to get from you?
Oh, I like that. So I think we should talk about what do we bring to the table next week, and not sexually, but just in general. Like,
we can include sex.
Yeah, we can definitely include sex. But I think next week we should talk about, like, we have these expectations of people, and it's like we have these expectations. We want these things from men, right, or women. But what do we actually bring to the table to be deserving of those things?
Well, a lot of things you have these expectations of other people because you don't hold yourself to your own expectations.
Exactly.
So now you're living vicariously through this person to tell them you have to make me happy.
Yeah. So let's talk about that next week. Let's talk about what do we bring to the table. You cool with that?
Yeah. Let's go with it. What you bring to the table? What you bring to the table?
We're gonna talk about it next week because, baby, I am the table. Don't play with me.
Talk. That's why I put 2 in you.
Okay, that's why you put 2 in.
That's why I put 2 in you. We're gonna see y'all next week.
Yes. Thank y'all for tuning in.
All right.